There are some stories which we're not only an audience to, but may become their participants.
At the beginning of the 20th century, Winton assisted in the rescue of 669 children, most of them Jewish, from Czechoslovakia on the eve of World War II. On a brief visit to Czechoslovakia, he helped compile a list of children needing rescue and returning to Britain, who were at risk of being murdered by Nazi Germany during the Holocaust. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will talk about how Nicholas Winton saves 669 children in the line of World War II, and what are the tactics and plans to do this rescue mission. But before we continue, thank you guys for all your support. I will do my best to give this kind of content to all of you. And if you want any suggestion, stories like this, comment down below. Make sure to subscribe and help me to reach my first 1,000 subscribers. So without further ado, let's get started. Who was Sir Nicholas Winton? Sir Nicholas, Nicky, Winton, born Nicholas Wertheimer on the 19th of May 1909, was a Royal Air Force officer in the war and later worked for refugee organizations and the Abbey Field Society. A young London stockbroker who heard of the efforts to rescue German and Austrian Jewish children on the so-called Kindertransport, an effort that eventually brought about 10,000 unaccompanied children to safety in Great Britain, he decided to organize a similar rescue operation for the children of Czechoslovakia before the outbreak of World War II. At the beginning of rescue mission, there was no comparable mass rescue effort in Czechoslovakia. Mr. Winton created one. It involved dangers, bribes, forgery, secret contacts with the Gestapo, 9 railroad trains, an avalanche of paperwork and a lot of money. Nazi agents started following him. In his Prague hotel room, he met terrified parents desperate to get their children to safety, although it meant surrendering them to strangers in a foreign land. As their numbers grew, a storefront office was opened. Long lines attracted Gestapo attention. Perilous confrontations were resolved with bribes. Eventually he registered more than 900 children, although he had names and details on 5,000. In early 1939, he left 2 friends, Trevor Chadwick and Bill Barazetti, in charge in Prague and returned to London to find foster homes, raise money and arrange transportation. He and a few volunteers, including his mother, calling themselves the British Committee for Refugees from Czechoslovakia, Children's Section, enlisted aid from the refugee children's movement, had photos of the children printed, and appealed for funds and foster homes in newspaper ads and church and synagogue bulletins. Hundreds of families volunteered to take children, and money trickled in from donors, not enough to cover all the costs, but Mr. Winton made up the difference himself. He also appealed to the Home Office for entry visas, but the response was slow and time was short. This was a few months before the war broke out, he recalled, so we forged the Home Office entry permits. But on March 14, 1939, it all came together. Hours before Hitler dismembered the Czech provinces of Bohemia and Moravia as a German protectorate, the first 20 children left Prague on a train. Survivors told of searing scenes on the station platform in the final moments, before departure, as children sobbed and pleaded not to be sent away, and parents faced giving up their children. Mr. Winton and his colleagues later arranged for 8 more trains to get the rest of the children out, crossing the Third Reich through Nuremberg and Cologne to the Hook of Holland, then across the North Sea by boat to Harwich, Essex, and on by British Rail to the Liverpool Street station in London. There, he and the host families met the children. Each refugee had a small bag and wore a name tag. But only 7 of the 8 trains made it through, the last in early August, bringing the total rescued to 669. About 250 children, the largest group, were on board the last train out, on September 1, 1939. On that day, Hitler invaded Poland, all borders controlled by Germany were closed and Mr. Winton's rescue efforts came to an end. Within hours of the announcement, the train disappeared, he recalled. None of the 250 children aboard was ever seen again. All were believed to have perished in concentration camps. Nearly all the saved children were orphans by war's end, their parents killed at Auschwitz, Bergen-Belsen or the Theresienstadt. After the war, many remained in Britain, but others returned to Czechoslovakia or emigrated to Israel, Australia or the United States. The survivors, many now in their 70s and 80s, still call themselves Winton's children. After the war, Nicholas Winton's rescue efforts remained virtually unknown. He was haunted by the thought of all those he was not able to help and, as a result, never talked about his efforts. It was not until 1988, when his wife Greta found a scrapbook in their attic with all the children's names, that Winton's rescue efforts became known. Until the general public found out, that year when Winton's story featured on the live BBC television show called That's Life. During the show, presenter Esther Rantzen asked the studio audience if anyone here tonight owes their life to Nicholas Winton. He was surprised when surviving children as now adults were seated all around him and began to And in 2002, Winton received a knighthood from Queen Elizabeth II for his services to humanity. Winton kept quiet about his work, and the truth of his heroism did not come to light for decades. For almost 50 years he was silent, until her wife found the truth. Winton died in his sleep from cardiac arrest on the morning of the 1st of July 2015, at Wexham Park Hospital in Slough, England, having been admitted a week earlier following a deterioration in his health. He was 106 years old. Winton was cremated and his ashes were buried at Braywick Cemetery in Maidenhead, Berkshire alongside his wife Greta and son Robin. I hope you liked this video, and also don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day, and see you in the next video.